Now we're going to look at the foot shot taken with the Pixel. I mean, taken with the main sensor on Pixel and the Huawei. Now, so this one is with Master AI and this one with Master AI disabled. So one thing that you should know right away is that the Pixel has tendency to like curve the color a lot, while the Huawei in its Master AI mode really like cause the image more punchy. You can tell here by looking here. Compared to like Master AI disabled, like more punchy and then like more balanced image. But then again, compared to the Pixel, Pixel has this muted look and then has this little green tint going on. I don't know if you can see it as good as me, but yeah, it do have this green tint going on. So as for the details, I like the details that being shown, or like the focus is really was like locked in onto this two pieces of chicken, while the rest of this enoki mushroom is like being blurred by the algorithm. So, but then again, I'm not sure if this is the algorithm doing its job or it's the whole hardware itself doing its job. So as for the Huawei's Master AI enabled image, kind of looks good. So yeah, so the Huawei is like darkening, like giving shadows to this part of the image, like this image of the like this part of the fried chicken, while the Pixel is like bringing the color back on, like lifting the shadows. And then when it comes to the focusing, the Huawei is like allowing more into the focus. It like shows these enoki mushrooms. So yeah, depending on so with the Master AI disabled, uh, much more similar but still able to maintain color. So yeah, this is what I realized with the Pixel, is that the Pixel has really serious tendency to like mute the image, even though the image has that vibrant pop look, like popping look, like eye-catching look. But yeah, the Pixel is always like mute the color, so I don't really get it. So when Master AI disabled, the color is less pop, but still closer to what I'm seeing with my own eyes. So as for this sets of photos, I would give it to the Huawei's with Master AI disabled. Also, the focus here is like more pleasing, like it allows more to get in shot compared to the Pixel. But then again, I'm not sure if the unfocus is actually on the hardware level or just the algorithm doing its algorithm thing. So yeah, I would go to the Huawei for the winner. But if you look at this image, you kind of see like this green tint going on, like especially here. So I'm not sure why, but whatever. Okay, moving on. And now we're going to take a look at foot shot taken with 1x main sensor. This one is from the Pixel and this one is from the Huawei. Now, for me, one thing I noticed is that the Pixel has that better exposure, but I don't know why. Maybe it's just me. I feel like this photo here has that greenish tint going on, but maybe it's just my feelings. As for the Huawei, something weird is going on because in here it registered 41 mm instead of 27 mm. So I'm not sure if I actually did zoom in or the Huawei is like making a mistake here, or maybe I did zoom in on the Pixel but it didn't register as 41. So we're gonna consider it as a 1x shot. So anyways, the Huawei not doing a good job at like exposing the image, and also has that kind of like punchier reproduction of this food. This is chicken chop, by the way. Chicken chop is like a Malaysian dish inspired by like Chinese people. So, and you eat this chicken chop with black pepper sauce. It's really good, and I recommend you tasted it. So between these two, I think I'm going to go with the Huawei because it is more pleasant and how it makes the chicken more yummy. While I kind of like the how the Pixel well exposed these images, but there is this green tint that I'm seeing that I can't really shake off. I do accept the paleness because I can fix it in an editing app if I'm feeling like extra diligent. But as of now, I love how yummy the Huawei made this food, and I'm going with the Huawei. Okay, the last foot shot taken with 1x on the main sensor. This one is from the Huawei. This one is from the Pixel. This one is from the Huawei with Master AI enabled, and this one is from the Huawei with Master AI disabled. Now, between this shot, I noticed this green tint again with the Pixel, but I'm not sure if anyone was seeing this. So while the Huawei with Master AI enabled is like really saturate not only the food but also the cover, the table cover or whatever you call it, like making it really deeper blue, while the one with Master AI disabled has much more neutral color reproduction. But then again, the Huawei again goes with that paler color reproduction, but its ability to expose or like keep everything in focus is really good, while the Huawei is really has that focusing bokeh going on. So between these three sets of images, I actually we're going to pick the Pixel here because the color of the noodles here is not supposed to be this yellow or this yellow. It's supposed to be this yellow. So here I'm going to go with the Pixel just because it does the color more correctly. Well, for the Huawei, with the Master AI enabled, it's like very saturated. Even the color of the table cover is like extra saturated. So like it's going to throw me off. I feel like I'm being thrown off. While the one with mastery I disabled has more balanced approach. It still has that noodle color, wrong noodle color. So I feel like the best representation of this food here, despite being duller and have that green tint, I'm going to pick the Pixel as a winner for this sets of images. And now we're going to take a look at the sets of images from the ultra-wide sensor. This one is from the Pixel, and this one is from the Huawei. Now, one thing that I noticed right away is that the Pixel image here is like darker in exposure and then extra contrasty. It crushed the shadow on the tree. Like you can still tell like there are some greenness in the tree, but compared to Huawei did a lot better. And again, with the cooler white balance, but then again, this is not really super cloudy evening day. It's still not super sunny day, but it's somewhere in the middle. Like there are still sunlight if you look at the sky. So yeah, for the Huawei, it definitely overblown the highlights. It doesn't control this exposure on the clouds as good as the Pixel, but it does expose, like, give better exposure to the overall image. And the color here is more accurate because it's not supposed to be super contrasty or like darker exposure like how Pixel presenting this image. So yeah, I would pick the Huawei photos, albeit it's not as wide, only 94 to 100 degrees of field of view. And now looking at sets of images from the main sensor, this one is from the Pixel and this one is from the Huawei. Now, if one thing that I noticed right away is that the Huawei has that reddish tone, possibly caused by the RYYB sensor that they use. So it does appear a little bit like a lot red and warmer than how it's supposed to be. Like the color of the road here or like ground here is like too red, while the Pixel managed to like replicate the color from the ultra wide, albeit a tad darker exposure. So here like the Huawei also kind of went with the darker contrasty look, similar to Pixel. But yeah, Pixel here definitely replicate the almost able to replicate color of the Huawei, like the more accurate scene representation from the Huawei compared to what the what the Huawei is doing here. Like it is just too red and kind of wrong. In terms of dynamic range, I think both are doing good. The exposure control is good enough. And then they exposes, like both Huawei's and Pixel algorithm exposes the sky color more correctly. So that's that. For this sets of images winner, I would give the win to the Pixel here because of how it represent the color more correctly, or like how it represent the scene more correctly. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the 5x zoom shot taken with the periscope sensor. This one is from the Pixel, this one is from the Huawei, and this one is from the Huawei but edited with the gallery app to kind of demist. But we're going to go back to these images later once I've dealt with these two first. Now, for the Google, I find that Google Pixel has that better dynamic range. It exposes the whole image pretty good. It even captures more color on this from the sky a lot better, and I kind of like the whole rendition. But if we were talking about more accurate rendition of that situation or the scene, the Huawei did a better job because we are shooting directly, like the sun was directly, or the source of light is directly straight in front of us. So, and then it is kind of like late evening. It is what it is 6:38, so it is kind of like almost late, almost kind of like evening, very evening. So the sun like was already below. So this darker exposure is more accurate. But in terms of well exposure, like what you can see in this image, I'm going with the Pixel. Now, as you can see here, the Pixel also have that haziness going on, but it is a lot more pronounced on the Huawei. In terms of detail, I think both are nearly the same. Or I think I'd like to believe that both are nearly the same. Might have better rendition of the word, but slightly not that good. Yeah. But then again, the Huawei do has that AI sharpening effect, so that's that. Okay, now we're looking at the 5x zoom shot taken with the periscope sensor, but again, but this time with the edited photos. So I want to remind you guys, this is actually considered cheating because I had used an editing app to like fix this. So even though it was not really brilliant, but it came with the gallery app, so Huawei might have expected this to happen. Anyways, comparing these two, the gallery algorithm managed to like reduce and return the color of this image, but it's not gonna work effectively all the time, because here there are some haziness remaining. But yeah, if we were to take a look at these images, as I said, I'm sorry, as I said, the Huawei is more accurate representation or accurate rendition of the scene that day, because this is like kind of dark. In terms of the dynamic range or like details, I believe that the Huawei did a better job, but also thanks to its sharpening, the AI sharpening. But if you can see here, it's kind of like starts to fall apart, while the Pixel still maintain some of the details. But honestly, it's not really huge in any way. Like, it's not the difference is not really huge. So again, the Pixel is using what's already may are using its higher pixel binning count, and then its slightly larger sensor to like capture this information, while the Huawei is using its artificial intelligence or algorithm to fix like to sharpen this image. So yeah, again, I would pick the Pixel because of how it rendered the image, despite it's a little bit punchy, but then again, it is acceptable. Now, the color of this here warning here is supposed to be greenish, and yeah, I feel like the Huawei sort of captured it a lot better than the Pixel, but that's just that. I like for these sets of images, I'm still going with the Pixel. Okay, now the standard 1x shot with the main sensor. This one is from the Pixel, and this one is from the Huawei. Now, as I mentioned earlier, once the algorithm notices blue sky or like see blue sky, it's gonna the white balance is gonna get thrown off, and it's always going to prefer that blue tone, and the blue tone is affecting the whole image. Now, here I like the rendition of the Pixel because you can see the color of the coconut tree. Now, one thing that I forgot to note earlier is that with a warning board shot, we are shooting like with the light coming straight from the other side, while like the source of the light is straight in front of us, while this one, the light source is behind us, so it's supposed to have even exposure, so it should not have that dark rendition that it's supposed to have with the Huawei or the Pixel. But I honestly think the Pixel is a little bit darker down here. But yeah, I love the way the Pixel preserve the center of this image, unlike the Huawei that's crushing the shadow and like being affected by the blue light all over the image. And now 5x zoom shot from periscope sensor. This one is from the Pixel, and this one is from the Huawei. Again, with that cool white balance on the Huawei, and how the Huawei algorithm is like crushing the shadow of this image, while the Pixel maintain that exposure. But because again, the source of the light is now behind us, so the image is supposed to be well exposed, like a Pixel compared to the Huawei. Like the color, the rendition of the sky on the Pixel is much more correct. It's supposed to be softer blue, as it's not really dark, because it is only 6:40 p.m. So it's not like 7:40 p.m. So yeah, I love the rendition, the way Pixel rendered this image, and you can see the coconut fruits on this tree, while this one is just really crushing the shadow. And now we're looking at the 10x zoom shot. This one was taken with the Pixel, and this one was taken with the Huawei. Now, the Huawei seems to have improved its exposure a little bit, but here the Pixel is like doing the better exposure, like has better HDR. And we can again see how the Pixel well exposed the coconut here. Like you can see one coconut here, two coconut here, and three coconut here. And also the trunk of this coconut tree. While the Huawei, you can't like tell there is coconut, but then again, it's just too blue, and the exposure is like darker. So yeah. So yeah, for this image, I definitely prefer the Pixel rendition. The sky color is correct, and the exposure is there. So yeah, for this set of images, winner, I will definitely give it to the Pixel. Coming back with samples from the ultra-wide sensor, this one was taken with the Pixel, and this one was taken with the Huawei. Now again, Huawei is being affected by its RYB sensor or like filter or whatever, and there is like red tone all over the image, and its exposure is darker when compared to the Pixel. The control over highlight is good on both. It's not terrible. In terms of details, I believe that the Huawei seems to render a better detailed image, but considering that Huawei is actually a 40 megapixel, so I guess it does make sense. Or maybe I was wrong. Is it 40 or 20? I'm not sure. I don't remember that well. But yeah, the exposure on the Huawei is darker, but I think the rendition of the sky here is a lot more accurate because then again, the sunlight is not really passing through the cloud. Well, here, the pixel is like a little blue. But for this, but for the winner of these sets of images, I would give the win to the pixel because it is more pleasant to look at and you get a lot more of view. Like you get to see a lot more. In terms of the quality, yes, the ultra wide is not that great, but then again, more pleasing. So wins me. Let me check if it's. I thought it was overblowing the water. So yeah, I feel like both do a really good job at controlling the exposure. Yep. Yeah, I thought the pixel is like overblowing the water, but it's just me. The rendition is just this as the same, nearly the same. So it was my mistakes. So yeah, again, I'm going with a pixel as a winner for the sets of images. And now we're looking at the sets of images taken at 1x with the main sensor. This one was taken with the Pixel 7 Pro, and this one was taken with the Huawei P40 Pro. Now, the rendition of the Pixel here is a lot better. It has better exposure all over the image, and while the Huawei is like having this darker. The good news is that the reddish tone from the ultra wide image is gone when compared to the ultra wide. So here the reddish tone from that RYYB sensor doesn't affect the main sensor as much, but the exposure here is a little darker. But in terms of accurate rendition of the scene, the Huawei really is more accurate. But here the pixel is more pleasing. Like it is well balanced, even though it's not really accurate. But yeah, the scene is not supposed to be this dark, and the shadow is like super crushed. So I'm not sure if this is like done on purpose by the Leica partnership, or it's just the way Huawei is. The good news is the pixel render the color of the sky better. It is similar to how the Huawei's ultra wide camera or ultra wide sensor render this image, while the pixel has that strong blue tint. Again, sort of favoring that bluish tint or like cooler white balance. Yeah, in terms of rendition, like the one that accurately rendered the scene, the Huawei did a better job. It's just like the exposure is a lot darker than what it is in real life. While the Pixel is having that very well balanced image. Like the HDR is really doing a good job. It's just that the color of the leaves here is wrong. It's supposed to be darker because again we are facing the source of the light. Anyways, for this scene, despite how despite the Pixel is not reproducing the color accurately, I feel like the Pixel deserves this win because again, if I want to show this to someone, people would have preferred the Pixel images instead of the Huawei's images. Moving on to sets of images taken with the 5x zoom shot with the periscope sensor. This one was taken with the Pixel, and this one was taken with the Huawei. Now, between these two, here the Pixel seems to have like goes for that darker exposure. If we take a look at the leaves here, while the Huawei is consistent with its darker exposure even down here. Now, in terms of quality, I actually think both really did a good job, albeit the Huawei is a lot noisier. Like if you can tell from like here, the picture here, while the Pixel managed to control the noise and render the image a lot better, but it still has some noises. But then again, it is far away. So here, I would say the winner of this set of images would go to the Pixel again because how it rendered this house here a lot better. Because the Pixel kind of rendered this house in like cooler white balance, like preferring that cooler white balance, like I showed you earlier. You can it is more obvious here in this part of the images, while the Pixel keep it really neutral. So yeah, as for this set of images, I would say that the win does goes to the Pixel again. Alright, another set of 10x zoom shot with the periscope sensor. This one is from the Pixel and this one is from the Huawei. Now, what you're seeing here is not haziness or artifacting coming from the Pixel hardware or camera hardware. It is actually people burning something. It is actually smoke from people burning something if you look at the movement of the smoke here. So it is not a hardware problem. Anyways, in terms of exposure, I love how the Pixel rendered the image. Like everything is well exposed, while this part here is like, while the Huawei keep it in the dark, like keep it in, like crush the shadow, and not really able to like keep that in detail, while still able to like tell grass, like this is grass, so like not just smudges when compared to Huawei, but both doesn't really do a really great job, except the Pixel able to like expose this part of boat or sampan parking spot here. So yeah, the pixel, I do love the pixel exposure and the way it renders the sky, because even though it is getting dark, the sky color is not supposed to be that blue. So in terms of the accurate rendition and the pleasantness, I would give the win to the pixel. This one is 20x zoom shot taken with a periscope sensor. This one was taken with the Huawei. This one was taken with the Pixel, and this one was taken with the Pixel, but edited with the Huawei's gallery app with the DMIS feature. Anyways, we're gonna deal with these two before I go back to compare with this one. So anyways, this is when the Pixel start to have that hardware level haziness going on. Because then again, the zoom in like periscope sensor can only do so much before it fails. So anyways, in terms of rendition of the image, I like that the way Pixel does it compared to the Huawei. The Huawei is like really popping up the blue, like again preferring that cooler white balance that is actually not supposed to be, because the house is actually just a tad blue. So anyways, I kind of like the more close to accurate rendition of the reality compared to the Huawei's rendition of this image, or like the scenes. Yeah. So for this I'm going to pick the Pixel as, for this 20x shot, I'm going to pick the Pixel as the winner, despite it's pale. It's kind of like pale, but also a little pale, but also accurate, near accurate rendition of that scenery. This is another 20x zoom shot. Now that was from Pixel, that was fixed with, or like edited with, the Huawei DMIS feature on its gallery app. And I tried to do the same with the editing tools, but this is what came out. Yes, it's practically unusable. Like, what is this? So yeah, the DMIS is not going to, the DMIS feature in Huawei's gallery app, our built-in gallery app, is not going to save this image. So here we have the same image taken with the Pixel, but fixed with the DMIS effects on the Huawei's built-in gallery app. So as you can see here, this is so much better because how it removes the haziness. And then now you can see there are cars here and here. And when it comes to rendition of this grass here, it's not really that good, but compared to Huawei, it's just full of smudges. But then again, we can't really compare them because Huawei just, like, you know, turned terrible. So yeah, this is like so much better rendition. You can see much better like better rendition to the image. But then again, this is considered as cheating because, again, for a much more kind of like accurate camera test, you should have like review it straight out of the camera. But then again, I'm here for what pleases me, like what image is more pleasant, and again, I'm capturing a moment. So if there are something that can fix the image, I would definitely use it, but just not too often. So yeah, as I did go with the Pixel, I'm also going to go with the Pixel again in this image because how it is not affected by that cool white balance. And now we're going to take a look at the landscape photos taken with the ultra-wide sensor. This one is from the Pixel and this one is from the Huawei. Now, one thing I noticed when reviewing these photos is that the Pixel again comes out with a darker exposure, like crushing the shadows, like this part of the trees here, and also the ground is darker, and also it appears to have this masking or smoothing out of the clouds, because here you can't really see the cloud details the way you can see it on Huawei. Like on Huawei, you can tell there is like a stripes, like there are stripes pattern of clouds, and then the exposure on the Huawei, like the exposure for the overall image is like better and also reflects in real life, because in real life it's not supposed to be this dark because there are still lights going on. Anyways, in terms of like I'm not sure why, but this one has like reddish tone, while the Huawei, despite usually having that reddish tone thanks to it RYYB sensor, the Huawei this time, like the algorithm this time, decided not to make it red, and then yeah, like more neutral. And then since, like, of course the cloud would be in better color because there is no blue sky, because you know how Huawei has this tendency of like making the sky very, very blue instead of neutralizing it. So yeah, the winner for this sets of images goes to Huawei because how well it exposes the image and it is more correct to real life. This is from the Pixel and this one is from the Huawei. Now, one thing is that the main sensor here, like the algorithm decide to have this reddish tone, similar to how Huawei, like how the Pixel ultra-wide shot goes to, like has like overall darker exposure when compared to the Pixel images, while the Pixel here has like brighter exposure. You can see how the Pixel exposes the center, like this part of this image, is a lot better than the Huawei. In real life, it's not supposed to be like the color of the ground here is not supposed to be this reddish. It's supposed to be like this. So yeah, I feel like main sensor and yeah, I feel like if one sensor has more tendency to be affected by its RYYB, sensor, the main sensor is the one. Now, again, on the Pixel, it has this masking effect or like smoothing out effects on the cloud again, because here on the Huawei, you can see how there are different shades of gray. Like here you have like very light gray, while here you have darker gray, while on the Pixel, you can barely tell the difference, like the difference that the colors has going on. So for this shot, I'm gonna go with the Pixel, despite how bad it is at rendering the sky, because the Huawei reddish tone is really jarring to me. So yeah, I'm definitely going with the Pixel images for this 1x images from the main sensor. And now we're going to take a look at the 5x zoom shot taken with a periscope sensor. But for this sets of images, I actually have 4 images because I edited the original photos with the gallery editing app to edit the DMIS effect to see the outcomes of these images. So we are going to review the edited image later, but first we are going to review like the original photos. So anyways, as I mentioned earlier in this video, the periscope sensor has tendency to create that pale or dull shot when compared to the Huawei. In terms of the accuracy, like the accuracy of the rendition of these photos, I would go with the Huawei, because even though it gets the color of the grass or like this foliage here wrong, it did a good job at exposing like the whole image despite having that hazing effect. The color here is more correct when compared to the Pixel, but yeah, the Pixel really did a good job at reducing the haziness and barely any haziness. So yeah, even when edited with the Huawei's app or like Huawei's Photos gallery editing app, it only increased the saturation of the images. So yeah, so I mean there is barely any hazing effects going on with the Pixel's periscope sensor. But then again, if I were to choose a winner, I will definitely pick the Huawei because of how accurate it represents the scene and how accurate the color reproduction of this heavy machinery here. And now we're going to take a look at the 5x sets of images, but this is the edited version, edited with the DMIS feature on Huawei Gallery app. Now, again, this too has different outcome because the Pixel is like dull, so it does increase the saturation a little bit and kind of like working to reduce the haziness. But then again, you can't really get more. I feel like the color of the Pixel here, especially the ground, is more accurate, but still the heavy machinery here is like not so accurate. The color of the heavy machinery here is not that accurate. Now, for the Huawei, the color is like gets kind of like introduce a lot more saturation. So the color here does not like represent that scene accurately. Like you can see the saturation on the ground here and on this foliage or grass here. So yeah, in terms of the winner, I would go with the Pixel. But then again, this sets of images is considered as cheating because this is not what came out of the camera. But then again, I want to show you the potential of the images you could get if you edited your photo on an editing apps. And now we have the 15x zoom shot taken with a periscope sensor. Similar to other clips, we have 4 sets of images. 2 sets of images are original, while 2 sets were edited with the Huawei Gallery app editing tools, or DMIS effects to be more precise. So anyways, we are going to review the original images first, and then we are going to review the edited version. So one thing you notice right away is that the haziness or the cloudiness effect is really overpowering the Huawei's periscope shot here. Like, yeah, while the Google Pixel is doing a better job at clearing up the image and maintain like better exposure. But in terms of color reproduction and scene accuracy, I would definitely go to Huawei because it's able to replicate the color of the heavy machinery a lot better than the Pixel. While the Pixel again goes for that dull look. But here I also admit that it did saturate this part of the foliage or grass. But other than that, it is okay. Now, in terms of the details, I believe that the Pixel has better detail, but not by a huge margin, just a tiny, teeny little detail, especially this part here, while the Huawei is looking like this. Now, one thing you should know about the Huawei is that Huawei is using mostly when you zoom into a certain range, I believe 10x and above, is really start to use that AI to fix this image, like everything's getting redrawn, while the Pixel, they are using its super res zoom and also data from images and then AI to fix this image. So it will comes out a teeny bit better than the Huawei. Yeah, because if we were to take a look at other part of this image, it is barely any better. But then again, if we were to look at the image without zooming in, I think it's more obvious that the Pixel is doing a good job, especially the part behind this, this tree here is being rendered a lot better because because on the Huawei you start seeing the smudges even without zooming in, you kind of see that's going on. So even here it's more obvious, while the Pixel is kind of able to render it a lot better. But in terms of sharpness or quality, the Pixel is not really a lot better than the Huawei. But then again, the Pixel really did a good job at like clearing the haziness or cloudy effects. But then again, the color reproduction is gonna wait. But for these images, I think I'm gonna go with the Pixel because how well it clears the image and how well it tried to render the image, the way it rendered the image, like almost natural if we don't zoom in. So yeah, I'm definitely going to pick the Pixel as the winner for these sets of images because at the end of the day, we can always fix this in an editing app. And now we're going to take a look at the edited version of that image, the same image. So as you can see here, the editing app algorithm, or like the demis feature in the editing tools in the Huawei gallery app is not doing much with, unlike the Huawei here, because here you can see how the demis feature decide to like increase the saturation, but also not by a huge margin. Like here, everything here is like super punchy, like very punchy. While here, the saturation is like giving a little kick, but still you can tell there is punchiness. The creation, like here you can see how not really good it is at like fixing. But then again, the demis feature is not supposed to like fix the image or supposed to like add more detail. It's just there to remove the haziness effects. As for the quality, I believe that the Pixel has better rendition, albeit not by far margin. If we were to take a look, like just like this, you can tell how the demis like don't even help. Like a more obvious how the Huawei tried to Huawei's AI trying to like fix these images by adding this. Like you can see it's very edited and AI, while the Pixel 15X shot here looks more natural. But so yeah, in this case, I'm going again with the Pixel just because how well it is able to like recreate almost natural representation of like able to like render it better, render the sharpness or like quality, make the quality usable when compared to the Huawei. So yeah, again, I will pick the Pixel images. And here we have the last sets of images for the daytime. But one thing that I want to point out before I start reviewing each one of them is that you can tell that here how terrible the Huawei algorithm is when it comes to neutralizing the white balance. Like you can notice it right away how the Huawei will always be the one prefer that cooler white balance, even when there's no sunlight even when there is like no clouds. The bluish tone is still affecting the whole image, like you can tell here, because in other image you can see the sky, so it's gonna make sense to prefer more the Huawei for like it's gonna make sense for the Huawei to prefer a bluer tone or like cooler white balance on its image because there are sky visible. But in this image of this water tank, there is literally no blue sky at all. So yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with the Huawei algorithm, and I definitely have the Master AI disabled, because even if it's not disabled, or like if it were on, like Master AI enabled, it's supposed to like takes time to decide, not like using the same kind of like white balance continuously all over the picture. So yeah, that is one thing that I want to point out before going to review this image one by one. Starting off with the sets of images taken on 1x main sensor. This one is from the Pixel and this one is from the Huawei. Now, before I start, I want to say that I don't have the ultra-wide sets of images from the ultra-wide sensor because I'm running out of time. Anyways, so here are the 1x shot. As you can see, the blue from the sky is affecting the whole image, even like causing this black colored car here, like has that bluish tone, while the Pixel able to neutralize the color of the car and also surrounding image better. And the color reproduction of the sky is much more accurate on the Pixel. And now we have 5x shot from the periscope sensor. This one is from the Pixel and this one is from the Huawei. Now as for the Pixel, again, the Pixel with its tendency to like mask the whole image, like mask the whole sky and like really kind of like have that smoothing or like mask the whole sky, like there is like kind of like hiding the details, while the Huawei here is like still detecting that blue tone or like the blue from the sky. And I swear to you guys that I here have Master AI disabled. So in this image, as you can see, the Pixel did a better job at replicating the image, but I feel like it loses some of the color, like it loses the vibrancy of the 1x shot. Like it is a little, the periscope sensor is a little dull. So one thing that weirds me out is that here you can tell here you can tell that the Pixel is capturing the sunlight hitting this twig or like whatever this is, like so yeah. And then it's able to like the dynamic range here is also better. Like you can see the mango tree here and the mango fruit, while the Huawei is just like having this bluish white balance and also darker exposure. But in terms of readability, you can read this sign with no issue, similar with the Pixel. But then again, the Pixel HDR is doing a better job, like best job. So here you can tell the color of the electric pole, and then the color of this advertisement board here. So it is much more balanced. Like the approach of the eye dynamic range is much more acceptable than the Huawei. So for this image, I will pick the Pixel because how well it exposes the image and how well it maintains the dynamic range. But if there is one thing that I want to complain is that the Pixel's tendency to like mask or like smoothen the whole sky, because it feels like I don't want to do that. So like the algorithm is just like got lazy, or I don't know. But yeah, again, the color of the sky is not supposed to be this white, because if you look at this image, you can still see the blue up here. So it's like the blue is not really supposed to. The white here is like too white even above there. It goes above, while it's only if the white, like the quality part of this 1x image is only down here, while the up here is blue. Like the 1x image from the Pixel is replicating that situation a lot better, but because the and then on the periscope sensor, it's just like goes with mask the whole image. Like this part here is supposed to be blue, like the main sensor. Another 10x shot taken with a periscope sensor. This one is from the Pixel and this one is from the Huawei. Now, the Pixel, again, with this wide like refusal to render the sky, but I have to praise the Pixel again for its ability to render or like expose this image. You can even see the sunlight hitting this twig or branches or whatever you call it, part of the tree, while the Huawei has that insane blue, like the whole blue or like cool white balance is like affecting the image. So I think the exposure is also not good. Yeah, despite the Pixel here has dollar rendition when compared to the 1x, that 1x is the most accurate representation or rendition of that situation. But then again, in this case, I will go with the Pixel just because how well it exposes the image and how well it renders everything except for the clouds or the sky. And now we have a 20x zoom shot taken with a periscope sensor. This one is from the Pixel and this one is from the Huawei. Now the Pixel, again, with its algorithm, refused to render the color like the sky. While it does a good job at exposing the image and exposing like the subject of this image, while it's true that the color is like the periscope sensor, image from the periscope sensor is a lot duller than the main sensor. I feel like this is better than what Huawei is doing here. Like the whole image is still being affected with that cooler white balance, but I feel like the blue here is not as deep as what you see here. Like this one is like way too dark, while here is lighter and softer blue. But then again, I won't pick this one as a winner because the Pixel here is just much better at rendering this board of advertisement. Okay, coming back with the sets of images from 1x main sensor. This one is from the Pixel and this one is from the Huawei. Now, the Huawei, again, with its blue tone, like the blue from the sky is like affecting the whole image again, while the Pixel is doing a better job at rendering the scene. This is, after all, a very sunny afternoon. So here you can tell that the Huawei gets the color of this car here very wrong. Even the color of the black car across the street here is also very wrong, while the Pixel did a better job and rendered everything much more closer to reality, or very accurate. I feel like accurate representation or like rendition of reality. In terms of controlling highlights, I think the Huawei seems to be doing a better job. Like if you can read here, but I feel like hold on. I feel like yeah, I feel like the Huawei did a better job, but that's only the good part of the Huawei rendition. While the Pixel did a lot better job at the overall image, and there's like nothing much to complain here. And now we have 5x zoom shot taken with the periscope sensor. This one is from the Pixel and this one is from the Huawei. Now, Huawei, again, is affected by the blue tone from the sky and the algorithm favoring the cooler white balance, while the Pixel is able to render the whole picture to accurately to the scene. Like this is, again, a very sunny afternoon. In terms of well exposure, I feel like, or I mean in terms of dynamic range, the Pixel did a better job. If you take a look at this part of the images, like look at Huawei here, and also the part of this house here, or like the window of this house. So yeah, even though the Pixel is not that sharp, the sharpness you see here is mostly caused by the Huawei's AI fixing the image. Like you can tell this is very AI, while the Pixel trying to like maintain details, but also not really artificially enhance it in like very aggressively and making it fake. But sometimes I don't mind the fakeness. Yeah, I feel like that's all that can be said on this image. So yeah, for this image, I definitely going to pick the Pixel as a winner. because how well it rendered this whole photo, not only in terms of scene accuracy, but also how well it exposed the overall image. Like the dynamic range here is just icing on the cake. Okay, we have another 10x zoom shot. This one is from the Pixel and this one is from the Huawei. Now, again, as before, and like to show you the trend here is that the Pixel here managed to always make or render the image as accurate as to what I'm seeing with my own eyes, versus the Huawei that will always prefer the cooler white balance and how the blue tint like overwhelm the whole image. Again, when it comes to the detail, the Pixel keeps it real, like didn't really enhance that image that much. Well, the Huawei really uses its AI to like enhance this image, and you can really tell from the writing here. But I think in most cases, people will actually prefer that the Huawei rendition of its texting, like how it reads, like try to fix the texting. But in terms of like which one has more pleasing rendition, better exposure, and accurate or near accurate scenes representation, I would go with the Pixel. So here we have the last sets of images before moving on to the nighttime images. I was planning to show you guys this sets of images, but then again, I realized that I have captured someone's car's number plate and then someone's face in these 4 photos. So I decided not to show them to you because I don't want to get in trouble. So we're going to skip the 1x and the 5x, and then we're going to straight to the 15x and 13x zoom. So let's get started. So this one was taken with the Pixel and this one was taken with the Huawei. Now, here I like the rendition from the Huawei because this color here, like the photos from the periscope, the Pixel periscope here is kind of pale, like too pale, while the Huawei here is like have this very deeper saturated look, while both are not really accurate, but we are here to check out like the way it renders. So I feel like this one is a preference thing. If you like the contrasty or like a moody kind of exposure, I think you would like the Pixel. I think you would like the Huawei. But if you want a well-exposed image and like a less saturated or muted image, I think you might be happy with the Pixel image. As for me, I can't decide because I believe that both of them, if I remember correctly, both of them are not being accurate here. And now we have the final sets of images from the daytime before we move to the nighttime or lower light situation. So here is the 30x shot from the periscope sensor. This one is from the Pixel and this one is from the Huawei. Now the Pixel again with its pale rendition, while the Huawei is more saturated and like a moody image. So now here you don't have that blue or like cool white balance issue. So this is like the battle of the quality of the image or like the details of the image. So if we were to pixel peep, this is where the Pixel really shine, because if you look at this wording here, the Pixel did better than the Huawei, because as you can see at 30x, the Huawei really start to lose its charm, like start to like really like start to not being able to keep up with the Pixel. But then again, I feel like the Huawei still do a good job, but it's not that the Pixel is like 100 times better. It is still just a tad better. But yeah, this is what the Pixel algorithm plus its hardware, like the huge megapixel, the pixel binning, and then larger sensor could give you compared to the Huawei. Now, I personally rarely use the 30x. I never go above the 15x. So even in my comparison, I never go above 15x because it's so hard to stabilize the Huawei's camera unless you have something to kind of like hold it, like or like to place it and then so that it will stabilize. Anyways, for this shot, I think I'm going to go with the Pixel just because how well it preserves the name or like whatever being displayed here, like the fork and then the writings and then the name of this restaurant. So yeah, in terms of like if you like the moody saturated image, Huawei is it. But again, as I mentioned before, I don't think both of them has that accurate representation of the scene. I feel like less saturated image here is more accurate. Or like if I were to go like into an editing app and add a tiny bit of saturation, then the Pixel could get good. But out of the camera, this is your choice. Like which one would you like the best? The Pixel, the 30x from the Pixel, or the 30x from the Huawei? It's your choice.